Making Comics by Scott McCloud. This one was really damn good. I'm a storyteller. I have an associate's degree in writing and producing film. I also have another degree in screenwriting. I love stories. I love telling stories. It's my main passion in life. So when I came across making comics, it became a central point for me. Reading through this book was very enlightening. I'd say if you even like comics, this is good to read just to get the behind the scenes of how everything is done, because it's literally just done with a pen and a piece of paper. There's little else that you need to start, but having all of this information is really good. The book story really goes in line with how to start a story, why comics are so important, talks about comics relation to manga. It covers practically everything that you need to know if you want to make a comic, and it's profoundly helpful in that end, to the point where it gets down to the nitty-gritty of every asset needed in comic book creation, from writing a story, plotting a story, drawing the story, where the panel should go, the correct panel amount, which is like 6 to 9. 9 is already too much, but Watchmen is a pretty good book that shows you 9 panel pages a lot. It's written very comedic. I mean, the word comic means comedic, so it's not like you could write a comic without being comedic. You definitely could. Scott McCloud doesn't. The way Scott McCloud writes is just very down to earth, basic for your average reader. He's talking to the average everyday person who is the ideal comic book writer, comic book artist, comic book creator. And if you didn't love comics before you read this, I have a very difficult time believing that you don't love comics after reading this. You could tell the love that Scott McCloud has for comics through this book. He is the main character, not the sole character, because he gets some influence from other comic book artists and writers. He talks to as many people as he possibly can just to get the whole message out, which is profoundly helpful. I had a blast reading through Making Comics. It gave me a lot of ideas and foundation on what I want to do as a comic book creator. This book is just phenomenal. If you're a comic book creator, this is probably gonna be your Bible for a while. Talking about comics so much, it's obvious that Scott McCloud has a love for manga, but that doesn't really peek its head all the way through until the end. I think it's the 5th or 6th chapter where he starts really going into manga and manga influences on Western culture, why manga is so important to comics as well. I would like to point out my favorite comics, which name me as a classist in the art world of making comics. I am a big Superman fan. He's just one of the greatest superheroes ever. I really like that movie and how they showcase Mr. Terrific. I haven't read a lot of lone stories with Mr. Terrific as of yet. They are making Mr. Terrific Year 1. I'll check that out when it comes to trade back. Bone was a really good book growing up. I would like to review Bone as well. I'll get around to that. And when it comes to manga, I love Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. I grew up on them. It really speaks to my liking of media as well, drawn media, print media. This book is so expansive in each of these areas and reminds me just a little bit more of what I love about comics and manga. Scott McCloud did a great job. I can't really add more onto that other than suggesting that you take a look at it yourself as well. When I was reading this book as a comic writer, because I have my own comic out on Webtoons right now, I'll post a link in the description. I drew comics before reading this, and now I believe that the comics I will draw and write after reading this book will be substantially better. It has uplifted me quite a lot. I love Making Comics by Scott McCloud. I can honestly say that. The theme is why comics are great. everything great about comics. It's really a testament to the history of comics too, even though it's not much of that. I'm sure he's written books on the history of comics as well, but it does give you a little peek into how we got here from all the way back in the day. Other than that, I can't really speak for it. It's a comic about comics and making comics. If you like comics, you'll like this. I'm sure you will. If I had to rate it, I'd have to say this is a pretty good read. Pretty good read, you know? Can't say anything wrong about it. Nothing wrong came out of it. That was my opinion on Scott McCloud's Making Comics. If you have your own opinion, I would love to hear it down in the comments. Hey, if you'd like, I would say you should read it for yourself.